The relationship between aesthetics and usability with e-commerce websites. Presented by Team 20, Brett Young and Mario Smith. Presentation agenda. Our research overview will be presented by Mario Smith. All article summaries will be presented by Brett Young. Future work will be presented by Mario Smith, and our conclusion will be presented by Mario Smith. What factors motivate the decisions we make as we purchase online? What determines our mood or feelings about an e-commerce site as we shop online? The answers to these questions are broad and can be complex with many variables to judge. The key to getting closer to an answer begins with identifying and examining key elements and how they may relate to a user reaching the intended goal. Our team has decided to focus on the relationships between aesthetics and usability with e-commerce websites. As a part of the foundation of our research, we feel it's important to define aesthetics and usability. Aesthetics is defined as of or relating to art or beauty. Aesthetics can lead us to perceive or make judgments based upon information we receive through our five senses. Aesthetics is also associated with mood, emotion, and feeling. Usability is defined as the ease of use and learnability of a human-made object. The object of use can be a software application, website, book, tool, machine, process, or anything a human interacts with. Usability includes the study of the principles behind an object's perceived efficiency and elegance. In human-computer interaction and computer science, usability studies the elegance and clarity with which the interaction with a computer program or a website, web usability, is designed. As it relates to cognitive psychology, our research explores the area of perception, attention, and decision-making. This topic sparked many questions for our team. Does aesthetics have any role on how we perceive a site and its usability before we use it? Can that perception change after we use it? Can we use aesthetics to draw users' attentions and drive them to a particular user path? Does a visual demand on our attention make a site seem more usable? How does aesthetics and usability factor into our decision making? As we begin to research various summaries, articles, and hypotheses, our goal became clear. How will the e-commerce industry need to respond to the correlation of aesthetics to the usability of the site? How will they need to respond if aesthetics has no correlation to users' ability to navigate or shop online? An example of what would make this interesting is when we compare visual design and usability for sites such as Amazon or Craigslist. This information will be vital for e-commerce sites owners to understand how to drive and lead users to engage with site interfaces, which may promote a more positive experience and lead us to a higher sales conversion rate. Let us explore some of the articles of our research. All article research summaries will be narrated by Brett Young.
Article Summary 1. In Attention Web Designers, you have 50 milliseconds to make a good first impression. Gettier and others focus on determining if first impressions are formed from very short exposure times, around 50 milliseconds. 3 studies were performed with between subjects. Study 1 presented 100 website homepages sequentially for 500 milliseconds. Best and worst sites were collected. Study 2 used 50 websites from the results of Study 1, 25 best and 25 worst. Study 3 viewed the same 50 websites from Study 2. However, the 40 participants were randomly assigned to run the entire study in either 50 or 500 milliseconds. Some of their findings that support other research in this area are: input from sensory organs can override and initiate a response before the neurocortex can make an interpretation. Therefore, emotions may be triggered before rational response and become somewhat compulsive. The direct results from this study were that participants reliably decided home pages that they liked and disliked within 50 milliseconds. And second, visual aspects like layout and color could also contribute to preference. In Article Summary 2, Lee and Kalbeck's article, The Effects of Usability and Web Design Attributes on User Preference for E-commerce Websites, support and build upon Article Summary 1. They strive to identify the relationship with perceived pre-usability and task completion time, and to prove their explanatory powers for user preference. To achieve their objective, they start by stating 4 hypotheses. Hypothesis 1, pre-usability is positively correlated with task completion time. While there was a statistically significant lack of independence between pre-usability and time performance, participants generally tended to complete the scenario task more quickly on sites that they rated better usability. Hypothesis 2, the relationship between pre-usability and user preference is greater than that between task completion time and user preference, which was supported. Hypothesis 3, design attribute assessments after actual use are highly interrelated. This hypothesis was also supported. Hypothesis 4, user preference is more correlated with aesthetic quality than organizational structure and layout. This hypothesis was not confirmed. Organizational structure and layout had a greater effect on user preference than aesthetic aspects. All participants completed 4 tasks on 9 unfamiliar online bookstores. Task 1, users expressed their perception of the pre-usability by reviewing an image of each bookstore. Task 2 was to complete 3 find task scenarios. Task 3, users completed a reaction form outlining 5 design attributes. Task 4, users expressed their overall preference of the websites. Article Summary 3, Levier and Traktinsky explore how users perceive visual design beyond mere attraction. In their article, Assessing Dimensions of Perceived Visual Aesthetics of Websites. In addition to explaining the long historical roots of aesthetics and visual design, they developed 2 dimensions of design as classical and expressive. Classical is more in line with order, clear design, and common rules used by usability experts, while expressive design is based on creativity and originality. 4 studies were conducted. First, a measurement model was generated to define the dimensions of user perceptions of website aesthetics. Exploratory factor analysis was used for this purpose in the first 3 studies. The 4th study used confirmatory factor analysis to refine and to test the model. Their major results were that classical design has a stronger correlation to perceived usability than expressive design. And last, article number summary 4, E-commerce interface, color and consumer decision making, two routes of influence. Westerman and others examined the effects of manipulation of interface color saturation, blue versus gray, on performance during a simulated e-commerce purchasing task. They take two approaches to examine the situation. First, general decision-making and strategies predicted to be color dependent. The second approach was based on effects of interface color on aesthetic judgments. It revealed that colorful interfaces are demanding of cognitive processing resources and consequently tend to produce heuristic decision-making. Also, aesthetics were more influential in the gray interface.
Directions for future research. The findings from the article summaries have many insights to be taken into consideration when creating or improving the user's experience of online shopping. Many of the article's results can build on each other and lend itself to more research and direction in future improved implementation of e-commerce interfaces. Understanding that users, without using your site, can make reliable decisions in only a few milliseconds, linked to bias and user preferences and perceived usability. The future research here lends us to focus on factors that guide perceptions in the ideal direction during the use of the website. Research from Trastinsky's article, Assessing Dimensions of Perceived Visual Aesthetics of Websites, gives us the opportunity for future research in an effort to possibly improve usability by identifying a clear balance with usability standards and creative originality. Another area for future research is aesthetics in terms of beauty as it relates to influencing the user. This is much more harder to qualify. Together, two of the articles implied that creative originality and colorful interfaces all contribute to a possible negative impact of perceived usability by placing more demand on cognitive processing and leading to a less optimal decision making. Our research conclusion. Our research led us to discover many ideas and hypotheses surrounding the relationship of aesthetics and usability. If a user has perceived a negative image of your online store, you now have another obstacle to overcome besides your immediate competition. As our focus was e-commerce websites due to the strong nature to make decisions in an online purchasing process, our findings are applicable to multiple verticals spanning many industries, such as understanding how preferences and decisions can be formed through organizational structure, layout, and color, or identifying that more favorable interfaces adhere to a simple usability standard over creative design. The results of our research revealed multiple areas of focus that collectively build the relationship between aesthetics and usability. This presentation has been given by Brett Young and Mario Smith. Thank you for your time.